What up?
All right, welcome everybody to another edition of Cleve and Me live here. As we still are missing the Cleve part, as he's always a little bit lost in space. Nothing new to the crew, but Mr. Reliable Tampa Tones is in the building, and I hope my all audio is good. Everything's working. I'm coming in off the fly here, just like yourself. Busy day and all. Before we get into the extreme matches, which is mostly different compared to the past years. How the heck we doing? And as always, thanks for joining us today live on YouTube.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a great one to be here live on Cleve and Me on YouTube. Always a great time. We got a good pay-per-view coming up to break down. We got a lot of stuff happening in the world of wrestling at this given time, and no place like Cleve and Me to chat about it. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Looking forward to see how Cleve gets a little lost today. You know what distracts him, where he ends up on some things. But regardless, excited to be here with the fellas and excited to get into things.
Yeah, and we all listen. I mean, it's just saying how it is. People are busy. We appreciate whoever can join. We know a lot won't be watching live as there's a lot going on. But hey, we're going to have this up all week. That's why we didn't do it towards the end of the week. We want people getting involved, listening to the show. Why leave you hanging 48 hours before? We want to be one of the first prediction shows out there. We're going to give you a surprise about halfway through. Cleve, in our thoughts and our heads, Cleve will be joining us, like I said. We should be getting Mr. Tampa Stunna as well. So a lot of good things happening today. And, as I get situated here and I think about Extreme Rules, Tones, I'm going to let you speak for it because you just tell it like it is. What has failed you in the past few years, especially when it comes to this pay-per-view? And do you have more optimism for this year's Extreme Rules?
There's been a couple of things that have hindered the pay-per-view in the past couple of years, to be exact. I would say at the very least. And if we're going on that, I would say the number one thing would be normally the lack of extreme matches, right? The pay-per-view is called Extreme Rules. So to me, you got to have matches with extreme rules. The past handful of years, at least, since right before COVID started, we've honestly gotten more non-extreme matches than extreme matches. Now, when I'm saying extreme matches, I don't mean you got to put a cheese grater to a guy's skull and throw him through a table and take out a glass tube and cut him with it. I just mean simplistic stuff. Chair match, ladder matches, table matches, whatever the hell you want to do. Anything that makes a match not normalized and a little more extreme, you could broadcast as Extreme Rules. So I think that they're slowly getting that idea a little bit more. They're slowly turning into that sort of thing a little bit more. And the other thing is the lack of storytelling that usually went into Extreme Rules in a couple years past. This was one of those pay-per-views that WWE kind of put on the back burner a little bit, didn't really, go too far into detailing, didn't really go gung ho in preparation for it or anything as such as that. Now they changed the time slot of it. It used to be held in the middle of summer, which kind of killed it too, right? Because that's kind of the off season of wrestling a little bit. I know some people say the fall is. I think that's completely wrong because they're actually bolstering their fall shows to try and keep up with Monday Night Football and college football on Friday night. So to me, you actually see more out of Raw and SmackDown in the fall. And that's why I think that we're going to get it better Extreme Rules as well. It's in more of a prime season. It's slowly leading up to Survivor Series. It's slowly leading up to a lot of good pay-per-views. Whereas before it was kind of just a stepping stone. Get me to SummerSlam. Now it's, hey, this is Extreme Rules. We can't forget about this. It's in the prime of wrestling season. We're going to do good storylines. We're going to get Extreme Rules matches incorporated. Let's get ready to roll.
Yeah, and I know as Cleveland joins us, he would agree with that. To your point, Tones, in the past, I mean, us three, Cleveland and Tones especially hit this on the head because I'm always, as we know, a little bit, hey, let's look at the bright picture. But Extreme Rules is usually main evented by one Extreme Rules match. Maybe you get two matches out of the card, but regardless, you're not getting much more than one extreme match. This year, to Tones is calling, and before we bring Cleve in here, I'm going to just talk, not even give the names. I'm just going to tell you the creativity and the type of matches we have going. Number one, Extreme Rules match. Obviously, that explains itself. Ladder match, another one. Fight Pit, which we'll get more into because we have a special guest referee, Mr. Daniel Cormier, in that. Strap match, I Quit match, and a 6-man tag, good old fashioned Donnybrook match, which is essentially a 3-on-3, just going to be a brawl in the middle of the ring, essentially for a good amount of time, as we have 6 great wrestlers there. So not only do they put in extreme matches, Mr. Cleve, they're giving us a lot of variety, and I'm really liking that.
I agree. I think I don't know if you mentioned the strap match. That's also a very interesting match too. I think Tones made a very good point. This is the first. I can't even remember the last time where we actually had so many extreme matches to look forward to. I can't even tell you which one is my favorite because they're all going to be different type of matches. Even though the 6-man tag match is basically a no holds barred, but it's still somewhat different of the norm we see every year at Extreme Rules, where we get one match, maybe two match, and it's only 6 matches. Maybe one more gets added, but if not, I'm perfectly fine with the card set up as it is. I mean, every match is different from the other one, and I'm really pumped this Saturday to see this.
Oh, and I mean, I think we all, at the end of the day, can agree that we are going to be locked in, and not only locked in, but very excited for this show because there's just so many different types of matches, and I'll keep getting back to that variety. Now, once again, for the fans out there, like, comment, subscribe, yell at us, do what you got to do, give us some feedback, as we're always willing to talk about what you guys have. But in the meantime, we're going to go be throwing our predictions. These guys and myself are going to give us a surprise, whether it's a shock ending, maybe somebody comes back. We'll be doing that in a little bit. As I said, we might get another surprise guest to join and much, much more. So let's keep at it and let's keep going. So now I'm going to put the people to the match for you all. I'm going to set the scene before I ask you each this question. So we got Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey, Extreme Rules match for the championship. A lot on the line there. We have Belair, Bayley, ladder match, Raw title on the line. A lot going there. That hitting hard with the woman right off the bat. Riddle and Rollins fight pit match. It's more similar to UFC style with special guest Daniel Cormier. Drew McIntyre carrying cross strap match. Edge, Finn Balor, I Quit match. And the Brawling Brutes, and that's Sheamus's group, versus Imperium, led by Walter. And like I said, a 6-man tag team. Just it's going to be an ass kicking in the middle of the ring. I laid out the people. I laid out the matches. Cleve, I'll start with you, then go to Tones. What is the match you're most looking forward to?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. The fight pit match is the one. I think that's probably gonna be my top one to see, just because I'm kind of curious on what is a fight pit match, like how is the setup gonna be, and I think Seth and Matt Riddle's feud these past few months has just been phenomenal, just really great. The promo they had yesterday was really intense. I just love how sometimes it just seems like they're just going off script sometimes, or maybe they're just speaking off script, whatever. But Seth Rollins talking about his kids, Matt Riddle's kids, and then Matt Riddle bring up how Becky is a better wrestler than Seth Rollins and whatnot. I think that one probably will be the best match on the card, maybe because we got so many other matches too. So for right now, I think that will be the best one.
And it seems like you're all in on the pit match and the creativity, but you're really liking that one for the storyline they given us thus far. Like you said, a lot of crap talking, a lot of personal jabs. Tones, are you following a similar path, or where are your eyes lying when you get on this card? Where do you seem to keep looking at in terms of interest?
Yeah, the fight pit match is interesting. Where that goes, I'm more interested to see if it's a one-off of Daniel Cormier or if him and Brock Lesnar end up feuding, which a lot of UFC fans aspired and dreamed of years ago in the UFC. Never really happened over there. So now maybe we'll finally get to see it. Unfortunately, it would be in WWE instead of UFC, but nonetheless, I think that would draw people to the match. I am actually looking elsewhere. I'm looking forward to Ronda Rousey smacking the shit out of Liv Morgan upside her head. I'm looking forward to Ronda Rousey You know, raising that championship in the middle of the ring, baby. And I'm ready for Charlotte Flair to come back and for them to get one of their classic storylines going between those two as we continue to heat up, twist and turn. You know, Charlotte's ready to come back. What her direction might be, I'm not sure yet. All I know is this: Liv Morgan is on that Nikki Ash trajectory. You know, she
Oh,
started off as a nice story. It was awesome, crowd favorite, crowd pleaser, and now you see it a little bit. The crowd's starting to wear on her a little bit. Nothing against her, nothing against her ability. She's a nice little diva wrestler, nice little female
ooh.
wrestler. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, I don't think she's main event card worthy. You know, match in and match out once in a while, perhaps. But we're to the point in time where I'm looking forward to seeing Ronda Rousey take her down, and that is in an Extreme Rules match. Now, I will say, an Extreme Rules match. How convenient. It bodes well for some buffoonery to happen and for Ronda to lose some crazy epic way to Liv Morgan. But at the end of the day, realistically, Liv Morgan is a peanut compared to Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey should have no problem destroying her in the ring, and I'm very much so looking forward to that.
Now, either of you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I cannot remember if it was SummerSlam where she won her title, because I know I was saying a few months back when because it's
Who,
I'm team,
Liv?
She
yeah.
cashed it
See,
in that night.
that's how memorable of a run it's been. You can't even remember.
So okay, maybe you got me a little bit there, but I'm Team Liv. You two are not Team Liv, which is fine. My whole point on it was that was back in end of July, so we've had a championship for August, September, a little bit over a couple months now. And I said, don't just kill it quick. I would still like, and we're going to start with our predictions for this match right now, is Tones, he said what match he likes most and who's he's rooting for, but he did mention, there's always that craziness that can happen in an Extreme Rules match. Do they let Liv keep it on her one more time before we go into,
No,
the
no,
overseas
just stop.
pay-per-view?
No, that's where no, and there's no reason for Liv to keep the title. Again, she's not drawing fans. She's not a threat to anybody. She's adorable. She's a nice looking lady, and she's decent on the mic. But, but that doesn't crown you as the woman's WWE champion. We got to get championship status back to the old where we have legit champions winning these belts, like Roman Reigns. That's a champion right there when you look at him. Lashley, that's a champion right there. You look around the other divisions, you got some champions, but you look at Liv Morgan, that is not a champion for the
Then
long
why,
haul.
heels make a face a better champion? Why doesn't Ronda Rousey then become a strong enough heel like a Charlotte Flair, where she's actually making Liv Morgan become a superstar? There's two sides to the story.
Wait,
If we're gonna talk, if we're gonna talk about,
Rousey.
if we're gonna
well,
talk about, go ahead, Cleve. I'm just saying.
well,
I'm
we
just
gotta
saying.
realize Ronda she recently just turned heel, so she was face for a while, and that didn't work
Because
out.
they
So
don't know
she
what to do with her half the time.
but now they know what to do with her. And that's true, Joe. A heel can make a face, but at the end of the day, I think Tones hit it head on. It's a lot of people that we think should be in the main event picture in their division, whether it's the women or men's. But then when they get the championship belt, we realize why they never won the championship belt or why they should never been a championship belt in the first place. Liv Morgan has improved in the ring. I'm not gonna say from when she debuted to now, she has got so much better in the ring. I still think she sucks on the mic, but that's just my opinion. But her past few title defense, who she beat? She beat Shayna Baszler, which was a fluke. That shouldn't have happened. Her cash in was trash, if we're being 100% honest. It was. And then she beat Ronda that one time. So I think she's had a good run, but the crowd is turning against Liv Morgan. No one cares anymore. This is my childhood dream. Nobody cares about that anymore. Like, dude, a lot of us are hardcore fans. We don't want to hear about the feel good moments and none of that. No, we want to see you prove it in the ring. And I don't know, Joe. There's like I'd say probably 10% chance. Maybe Liv has a chance because this is an Extreme Rules match, but this match should go no longer than 5 minutes. Ronda Rousey should just beat the hell out of Liv Morgan,
What?
and we can move on. I mean, come on, let's just be realistic here, Joe. Come on, 10 minutes. I feel like it's just too much of a matchup. 5 minutes, Ronda whoops her, and then we can go about our happy way and get a feud between Charlotte Flair or Ronda. Because guess what? Whoever wins is gonna lose to Charlotte. I mean, just be realistic here. And I'd rather watch a Ronda and Charlotte feud than a Liv Morgan and Charlotte feud because at least we'll know Ronda give her some goals. Liv Morgan's
But then
medium
that's going
card.
to be two heels. What do you do then? You turn. I don't want to get all into it. You both seem to be taking Ronda Rousey, but then Ronda and Charlotte have gone at it before. Do you really want to put it right now instead of maybe more around Mania time? It's an interesting scenario. It's an interesting dynamic. Tones, do you think Charlotte shows up at this pay-per-view?
Yes, I do, and I really do. She's been away for a while now. The women's division needs her presence back. They lost a few big names over the time that she's been out already, so it'll be a nice welcoming back for her. And I think she makes a splash in a good way. I think that the crowd will be happy to see her at first. She's going to get big cheers, and then her heelism will take over, and she'll do something epic in order for the crowd to get off of her good side. But I will say this, anytime a Flair shows up, it's going to be an interesting wrestling event, to say the very least. And to me, Charlotte Flair shows up. It builds some more speculation towards the next pay-per-view, which I believe would be Survivor Series, unless I'm mistaken. And I think that Survivor Series needs a little more flavor lately. What a better way to do it than get Charlotte Flair heavily involved in the middle of Survivor Series, representing the ladies of SmackDown, and I think people would love that. I mean, really, you're gonna have Liv Morgan, walking. I know the belt could change hands before then. I know things could happen, yada yada yada. But really, you're gonna have Liv Morgan represent SmackDown woman. You need some star power, and it's going to be Charlotte Flair, and that's why she's going to return this Saturday and start setting things up as such.
Well, to close out on this one, because I'll be in the straight minority here, I'm going to go. Here's the thing: if you go with a Liv win, it has to happen in a weird dynamic. How about this? I'm going to throw a little curveball. I'm going to go a little bit of Charlotte interference on Ronda to set them up in a feud without the title, and let Liv continue with the title. That's going to be unwanted by my two co-hosts right here. But hey, I'm here to be different and support Liv. I said at least 3 months. I got to get to one more pay-per-view. I got to either get to Saudi Arabia or Survivor Series, whether it's in America or outside of it. I got to get to the bottom of it, Mr. Liv Morgan, and I want to see that run continue a little more. As I do agree with them, I cannot wait for Charlotte to get back because that will bolster the SmackDown women's side heavily. Now, okay, we just went off of Tones' match. Let's go to Cleve's. Right down to it. Last night on Monday Night Raw, we got Daniel Cormier to do a video package. He is saying, enough's enough. Everyone loves you too, but you guys we're settling this in the ring. We're not doing it right now. I'm going to come by. I'm going to special guest this thing. On top of that, Tones has started speculating on the rumors. Will we get a Brock Lesnar return? Because it does seem like we are towards the end of this year for sure, and before that with or in a little bit after that with Mania. Are we just going to focus on these two characters in Riddle and Seth Rollins, or is Daniel Cormier going to play a huge factor with Mr. Brock Lesnar? I'm going to start first on this one. They showed a really cool video package to this match last night, and Cleve, to catch you up and on the others that didn't probably see that video package. It's essentially it's like a steel cage in terms of like the low cage, not like the Hell in a Cell big one. It's the lower cage, and you don't win by getting out or pinning. It's by just literally tap. You got to have the other person tap out or KO. It's one or the other, just UFC style. Hence why that's how they're inviting Daniel Cormier over. And I heard a little snippet also that maybe since McAfee's gone, if the contract works out right and if Cormier ever leaves, maybe he'll get more involved in WWE there too. A lot of speculation. That as an announcer possibly. That being said, I'm going to take Mr. Matt Riddle in this match. Seth Rollins won last pay-per-view. He got back on the winning side of things. I think he takes the L on this one, and the actual UFC fighter gets the win. I don't think we're going to get Brock Lesnar to show up here, but I do think Daniel Cormier will make a visit soon, maybe to SmackDown, maybe to the commentary booth, and something will happen down the line. But I don't think they'll do it right here just yet. Tones and Cleve, I'm going to give it to you first. Who's your prediction? And does Mr. Brock Lesnar or any of the rumors speculated happen?
I got to give it to Matt Riddle just because he's more of a submission expert than Seth Rollins. I really can't remember Seth Rollins ever winning a match from submission. I know it can be by knockout or submission, but I think they're going the submission route. And I think my second reason, only why I think, is because Seth Rollins I think they have bigger plans for Seth Rollins. I noticed that he has a title match at next Monday against Bobby Lashley for the United States champion. So him taking the L in this match might be a minor setback, but I think he will be the future United States champion. And I don't think Brock Lesnar comes back. I don't think this is a big enough pay-per-view for a Brock Lesnar appearance just because it's just Extreme Rules. But I do think Brock does make a return before the end of the year because he's been gone for a while. And yeah, so I got Riddle winning this, but I think Seth will eventually, he'll be all right with this L.
And then you said Riddle becomes maybe USA champion or Rollins?
Rollins US champion day. He'll lose Saturday, but I think he'll win the US title Monday.
Because he is feuding with Bobby Lashley on the side. He completely obliterated. Lashley beat Ali in a match yesterday. Rollins comes out, does the curb stomp to both of them, takes them out, and I think that could lead to something big there. I like how they do a couple storylines at once. It keeps things fresh and interesting, as they always should do, and AEW does a pretty good job of. Tones, over to you. Prediction, do we see Brock Lesnar as well?
Yeah, I think we absolutely see Brock Lesnar. I think that there's dual reasons that Daniel Cormier is in the building. One of them could be the broadcast possibility, which would work out just fine with his UFC desires and needs if he just is a sole Friday night SmackDown announcer, and then he'll do UFCs on Saturdays or whatnot, and he could still do pay-per-views when needed elsewhere. And I think that'll factor in to the storyline where McAfee does come back once college football season's over. Cormier will kind of hold the ropes down a little bit and then eventually feud with Lesnar, and I see those two going at it for Mania this year. I see it building up to that point, and I think that this pay-per-view has all the askings of Brock Lesnar showing up. To me, why would they bring Daniel Cormier there unless Lesnar's showing up? That's a really random guy to bring in. It's not like he's really been involved with WWE before. So you really have to look at the bigger picture here and say, hey, why is this happening? And the main common denominator would be him and Brock Lesnar's storied rivalry in the UFC. And to me, that's the very much reason why he's here, and that's why I think Brock Lesnar shows up as well.
And again, before we continue, you can catch his pay-per-view Saturday, October 8th, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, pre-show 7 Eastern, 6 Central, in Philadelphia. We've been thinking about pay-per-views. This wasn't the one for us out in Philly, but it is going to be lit none the least. And as we talk about Brock Lesnar, Tones, you said it at the beginning on how everyone wanted to see this in UFC. It would happen. It could happen in WWE. I don't want to go too far down the road, but what is your interest level if we get that match at Mania? Is it more of just, this isn't, obviously it's scripted, it ain't real. I wanted to see who could beat whose ass. Or do you still have a lot of interest if this goes into a, let's say a WrestleMania or a Royal Rumble match?
Yeah, I'd be interested to see, I think it has to be Mania. I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm not going to pull any bullshit. When you have two guys as popular and as big of characters as Lesnar and Daniel Cormier are in the fighting industry, in the fighting business, you can't settle for less. You got to go big show. You got to go WrestleMania. And I think that's really what they're aiming for. That's why they brought in Daniel Cormier to bring in views to Mania. They want more people from the AEW audience or UFC audience perhaps to trickle over. First, they started with upping their ratings on television to more, loose ratings, I should say. They're able to say more, they're able to show more, they're able to do things of that nature. Now you see them start bringing in people to do such. And Daniel Cormier and Brock Lesnar have such a history that to me, you can't really solve this any other way besides having them square off. And that's going to be at WrestleMania. I'm calling it now. Write it, put it in stone. It's too obvious to me. There's really no other direction they could go with Daniel Cormier. Outside chance at announcing, sure, but at the end of the day, the big picture why they're bringing him back is to sell tickets with him and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and again, I don't know his contracts situation with ESPN/UFC, but I imagine it's a pretty good one as they really like him over there, obviously. So, okay, I was against you guys in the first two. This one, I went with Mr. Riddle. Cleve went with Mr. Riddle.
I'm going with Riddle as well.
So that's 3-0. That's a clean sweep there. As we said, Seth Rollins, he's going to be involved in championships, and maybe not the main one right away with Roman, but going down to first the beast, Bobby Lashley. As we move on and digress, I'm going to give you guys, out of the 4 matches left that we have not talked about, I'm going to bring up the one I have the most interest in and give you my prediction. And to me, I'm going to go with interest. Now we're saying interest/intrigue. I'm going to go McIntyre, Karrion Kross strat match, and here's why. I've seen a couple of strat matches in the past 5 years watching WWE and one or two in AEW. I've been pretty impressed, but I want to see this thing go to the next level. Maybe Cleve can take us to one way back in the day where it just pops out from maybe the early 2000s or late 90s. But I think these two men, if anybody's going to put on a really good strat match, it's going to be these two guys. They're both very athletic. McIntyre is obviously more tall. Karrion Kross is more, of a physique build, and he has his lady with him as well to always pull off an interesting factor. But you can't get away from each other in the strap match, and it might be the least appealing in terms of it just being a strap connecting the two. But that's where I want to see the creativity. That's where I want to see two guys who hate each other in the storyline just absolutely beat the hell out of each other and not be able to run away and give us lag time. It should be constant action, and it should be a very good match, as these are two of the top people on the SmackDown roster. Karrion Kross was not brought back to be average. He was brought back to be great. And when you have a non-title match with these two, you cannot put McIntyre right back in the Roman Reigns championship as he already lost. It's too early for Kross. Let these two go at it and beat the crap out of each other. And who comes up with the W? I'm going to root for McIntyre, but I'm going to go Karrion Kross because I think after all the promos we have gotten from him, after all the packages, after bringing him back under Triple H's guidance, to me, starting off with a loss, even in a great match, might just hurt you a little bit, unless they're going to rival 2-3 matches down the road, which is very possible. But I think Drew McIntyre already, since returning in 2018, has built up his stature. He wouldn't lose much here. I'm going to go with Kross. Cleve, how about over to you? Prediction, and what do you think about strat match?
So my favorite strap match really wasn't how this type match is, but it was the Texas Bull Rope match between JBL and Eddie Guerrero when JBL first won his WWE champion. Phenomenal match. They had to tap 4 turnbuckles. I don't know if they will be like that. Sometimes are like that, but you make a very good point. I think Karrion Kross does win it just because Drew McIntyre doesn't need the win at the moment. If Karrion Kross were to lose, it would sort of feel like a Vince McMahon type of thing and not a Triple H thing where he's building up new stars. And also, I could probably see somebody interfering to help Karrion Kross out. Maybe his lady, Scarlett, plays a factor to that. I know she shot a fireball, and that didn't go all.
That kind of failed. Yeah.
Yeah, that fell miserably. But he also just beat Austin Theory really bad with the strap. So maybe Theory wants some payback. You never know what's lurking around. Some people you don't know who might hate Drew McIntyre backstage too. But I think he needs this more than Drew McIntyre.
And we also might get a potential heel run out of Drew McIntyre, depending on what goes on over the next few weeks. They're thinking about maybe going that whole direction. We'll save that for another time.
I hope
Tones,
not.
Karrion Kross, or Drew McIntyre with the victory?
I think that I'd go Karrion Kross in this one, honestly. I think I'm smelling an upset win. The heel who's been getting in his head a little bit, costing him matches. I know that ain't the popular answer. A lot of people want to see a guy like McIntyre win this one because he's a face and, a lot of kids love him, all that good stuff, yada, yada, yada. But, I just don't think he gets the job done here. I think they've been building the storyline up for a while. And I think they've been doing a pretty good job of it. But I like Kross in this one. I think that he gets a big win. And, I think the storyline's not over after this. I think it carries on a little bit.
I agree.
And I think they create more matches out of it. But give me Kross in this one.
Okay, and there we go. There's 3 matches in. Now what I want to do is we got about 10 to 15 minutes of Tone's time left. Don't forget, guys, even if it's in a match, we got to give us your surprise return, whatever you may have, you something that the people aren't thinking that you twisted up in your head during the duration of the show. Cleve, before we do that, though, I'm going to give you the draw. Are you more intrigued by the ladder match, Bianca and Bayley, or are you going with the I Quit match between Edge and Finn Balor? You're on mute, my guy. You hate to see that, don't you?
Sucks.
Your Cowboys won, but you're struggling.
We'll say
how about them Cowboys?
Not them Colts. But yeah, I love the I Quit match.
All right, that's it for you. You're done. And Cleve's leaving the show. Thanks for joining us, Cleve.
Just like the Colts defense. But anyway.
Oh,
yeah. But
do I need to take over the show a minute and let you guys box it out or something? I'll be the.
I was trying to be nice, Tones. We always have this, Tones, where we try to be nice and say something. He has that snarky little BS comment.
I get it. He's stressed. He knows that Dak has lost his job and that Cooper Rush is the new starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. The guy's 4-0 in his career, and he's just better than Dak.
Sunday, raise your hand. Oh, okay, I just wanted to make
sure. If Cooper Rush is your quarterback, raise your hand. Please put your hand up, buddy, because Dak ain't coming back and getting that job back.
We'll save this before you hop off. But so the I Quit match, as I was saying, I love the I Quit match because they're always unique type of matches. My 2 favorite I Quit matches are the John Cena JBL one and the Rock and Mankind one. They kind of always get a little brutal because you gotta do a lot to make someone say I quit. So you gotta get creative and whatnot. So I think, maybe we see a little bit of blood in this match. I mean, it's 50-50 on it just because I think an I Quit match, you would need something like that to make someone say I quit.
You did mention blood to me the other day. You think we're gonna get it?
I think so. For a match like this, not too much blood, but maybe a little, cut across the head or something like that, just because you got to make someone say I quit. And it's like you got to do a lot to reach that point in a match. So that's the one I'm really looking forward to. And to pick the winner of that is really tough because you got Edge and you got Finn Balor. And I look at it as who needs it the most. And I go Finn Balor. I'm a huge Judgment Day guy, in case you guys haven't realized the past few weeks. I love Dominic Mysterio joining over there. So I think they're going to play a factor into the match too. And I think this won't be the last match between these two. No, I think Beth Phoenix comes a couple months later down the feud with him too. But I think Finn Balor takes this I Quit match Saturday.
And they said he could be getting a big push coming. When I think I Quit match back to my early days, I think of the Cena Batista one, and that was an absolute. I mean, you talk about guys not being able to breathe by the end of that match. But Tones, who you going with in this I Quit match, and do you agree with him on having more interest in this match instead of the ladder match between Bianca and Bayley?
No, not necessarily. No, I'm not huge on Judgment Day myself. I'm not too big on that group of individuals that compose of Day. I could see why a lot of people like them. I'm personally not a fan of any of them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't like
Wow.
Rhea Ripley. I don't like Finn Balor. I don't like Little Mysterio, and I don't like whoever the hell their fourth stooge is.
Damian Priest,
Damian
come
Priest.
on,
Bunch of
Mike.
clowns.
Oh my
Have him drive
goodness.
out in a clown car, and yeah, maybe that'll be a little more appropriate. But nonetheless, I think that Finn Balor gets a win because I have a fifth member getting added to the Judgment Day in this pay-per-view. I have them
Whoa.
expanding in this pay-per-view. I only see Finn getting the win because he gets the help of this said fifth member. Now, who that fifth member might be, not sure yet. It could be a number of directions. It could be a number of people. How crazy would it be? Not saying it's going to happen or it's likely. How freaking crazy would it be if it was like a, Rey Mysterio to join the Judgment Day or something like that? I think we get a fifth, though. I think it's a younger guy. I think it'll be younger blood. I think it'll be someone who's not getting utilized fully at this point in time in the WWE. Who that is, I'm not sure yet, but that's my surprise to this point. We get a fifth member of the Judgment Day, and they're going to help Finn take down Edge to get the win. But yeah, I'm not more excited for this at all than the ladder match.
And I like that you said, even though you're not big on the Judgment Day, which I disagree with you on, you adding a fifth member, keeping them a group, keeping the cohesiveness and that going as factions are becoming more of a big deal. That is how you get more people involved. And I like that you brought that up. I'm going to go Edge and go against you guys. And simply my reasoning is he doesn't have a lot of time left. And I think somebody's going to help him out. To one of my surprises. I'm going to go on the opposite side. So I don't know if that's going to be a Beth Phoenix. I don't know if that's going to be Rey Mysterio. I don't know if somebody else is going to come back out of the blue. All I know is maybe DX helps him out. He really go old school. No, that won't happen. As we get DX on the premiere Monday night, don't forget the premiere to SmackDown is this Friday night. Really looking forward to both of those. But getting back to it, I'm going to take Edge and that he have a little bit of help. I do hope we get blood in this match. And let it play out. These two are very good tacticians in the ring, but very, I'm not going to, Finn Balor, I can be honest with you, I'm not huge on him on the mic. He made a little mistake last night. I do like his, accent and everything, but he's not Edge. That's where Edge is strong. But these two are willing to put their bodies through hell. We've seen it before. And hey, who knows? Maybe the demon Finn Balor comes out. It's not being talked about. We could get it as a surprise. Maybe he loses this one, doesn't in the future. But I'm not going to clean sweep it. I'm going to go with Edge and his charisma. He had a video package last night, but they said he wasn't at the arena the week before. Him and Ray went at it and got after the Judgment Day a little bit. Cleve, to your point, love what they're doing with Dom. Him and Rhea Ripley, the same age, is feeding off each other back and forth. I think you can't move them two up the ladder that quickly, but to see him in this faction being cohesive, I like where that is there. I'm going to go to the other match though and tell you why I'm more intrigued by the ladder match between Bianca and Bayley. Number one, Bayley, this is her first big match in a long time from pre-injury days. I want to see what she has to bring to the table. I get annoyed of her on the mic. A lot of people might say they like what she does on the mic. Maybe her being annoying is part of the heel role. But I'm more in for her in her faction and what they do in the ring versus what they do on the mic. So that's number one. Number two, Bianca is an amazing talent. And for these two to be going in a ladder match, you're not just going to have somebody go up the ladder and get it. We're going to see a broken ladder. We're going to see something. And I want to see how far they let these two women take it physically and getting after it in the grind. I know Edge and Finn will be great, but I already have the visuals. I already have seeing what could play out. I already have all the creativity there. Bianca and Bayley, I just don't know. And to me, that open-ended part about it in this ladder match will be the reason why I'm most intrigued, because I want them to live up to the standard of their two names, not just they're woman, they'll have an okay. No, these are two predominant listen, Bianca is beating a lot of the horsemen. She's been holding the title for a while, whether it's Sasha, Becky, and so forth. Bayley needs to prove herself again coming back. And I'm very intrigued to see how she does that and if she can put up a great show. Because if she wins this match, I don't think Bianca is going to get it back. I take that back. Maybe she could get it back pretty quickly. I'm going to have Cleve, correct me if I'm wrong, or either of you correct me if I'm wrong. In a ladder match, you could have just open interference play a factor, correct?
Yep, you can.
Now we all know Bianca has Bliss and Asuka a little bit there.
Asuka was hurt last night. Don't forget.
She did get hurt. I'm a little torn. Cleve, who's your prediction on this match?
Oh, I'm going Damage Control. I got Bayley winning the championship. I like Bianca Belair. Don't get me wrong, but I think her time is up. I think it's the reason why they put the belts on the other two. That's I can't pronounce their names.
Oh, Dakota and Io Sky.
Dakota, yeah, and Nia Sky. That's the reason why they are the tag team champions. So I just think it makes sense for Bayley to win it, and I see them taking out Bianca's help. Also, just tells me that it's basically going to be a 3-on-1 in this ladder match where they're going to definitely play a big part in this match. So, of course, Bayley's going to win it.
Tones, is that an agreement?
Yeah, I think Bayley wins as well, and I think that they form a little super packed, trio over there for the time being. And I think that they're all belt holders, and they're kind of a woman's knockoff version of the bloodline or whatnot. So I see that happening, and I see Bianca maybe getting a little bit of time away, vacation, relax a little bit, get your mentals right because they'll need her on the run to WrestleMania greatly. One of the better women in the division. She's been on for a long time now with the likes of Sasha, Naomi, and Charlotte Flair all being gone for big chunks of time. Give Bianca a little break, let her lose the title here a little bit, have her get jumped or something, and then have her make an epic return down the road.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it quick. Bianca's still younger. I love what she's doing. Before this show started, I would have said I'm going to have her winning. I'm switching. I do think Damage Control is a or a male version, female version of the bloodline. I think that's going to continue to grow. I see her win the championship. Bianca, you've proven yourself a lot. You're still young. You'll be back up. And maybe you have a few battles with her and you win it back. But for the time being, I'm going to give it to Bayley as well. And Tones, because I know you got to be going in a couple minutes. I want to get your thoughts on, actually, we've hit all of the matches now except for the 3-on-3, the Brawling Brutes. It's Sheamus and his boys versus Imperium, Walter and his boys. They're calling it a 6-man tag team, good old-fashioned Donkey Brook match. A lot of people are involved. I want your prediction, but I also want these two, Sheamus and Walter, went at it overseas in Wales, and they had a hell of a match. Especially, they were loving on Sheamus. All these guys seem to be pretty good in the ring. We could talk a little bit about why maybe one guy isn't, causing some injuries, but that's for here nor there. Do you have intrigue in this one? And then who's your prediction?
I think it'll be a decent match. It's not one of the ones where I'm out of my chair like, oh, I must see this. Like, my ass has to be glued into the chair the duration of the match. If I get up and get a soda or if I take a piss during the match, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. With that being said, I think they're building a decent little storyline between Sheamus as he helps put Gunther over with the crowd, and I think that's what continues to happen here. I think Gunther and the goons of Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci end up getting a win here over the Brawling Brutes. I mean, it's hard to pick a team that sometimes they just don't all seem there. They don't seem like they're all on the same page. They don't seem like they're all together. They oftentimes have to hold the little man back because he's over hyper, or if they're, even though it was an accident, they're breaking necks in the ring. Just a lot of crazy stuff that's happened with that trio and stable the past calendar year or so. They are a good team together. I just see them falling apart at the seam here in this one. I think I'm going with Gunther, Ludwig Kaiser, and Giovanni Vinci.
Yeah, poor Ridgeland and Dunn, but hey, it's a brawling brutes match, and it's going to be a strong 3-on-3. Tones, before we give our predictions on that and talk a little bit more, what's going on with you rolling the Buccaneers coming up this week, and anything final you wanted to talk about wrestling wise?
Wrestling wise, I'm just hoping for a nice little pay-per-view this Saturday, and I think we're going to get that. Like I said, they are doing a good job. You've seen them tinker the days of their pay-per-views the past year or two, and they're not really trying to compete with the Sunday night football of the world anymore. Most of the time, they're being smarter with that. They're not making people stay up till midnight on a Sunday just to catch a tail end of the pay-per-view. They're being smarter with that. We're getting our Saturday pay-per-views, and I'm very much so looking forward to this one on a Saturday night. They got a lot of good matches in there. Um, and it seems like what's next? I kept saying Survivor Series, but are they going to consider Halloween Havoc next? Whatever the hell it might be, they're going to set up Extreme Rules for a good next pay-per-view, whether you consider Halloween Havoc that, whether you consider it Survivor Series, whatever you might consider it. I'm looking forward to a great show, and every match is an extreme match. This is mounds and mounds and mounds ahead of where they came from just a couple years back, where I think they had one or two extreme matches on the card, and the rest of them were snooze fest regular matches. So very much looking forward to that. After a day of college football, you get a nice pay-per-view of wrestling to end the day. And Buccaneers, we're live tomorrow. I'm thinking it'll be 7 Eastern time, 6 Central time. So be on the lookout for that. We got a lot to discuss. We got a lot to go over. We got giveaways to announce. We're actually going to announce a giveaway live on the air tomorrow. You could be the lucky winner of that. So be on the lookout for that. You could keep up with us on Twitter at Buccaneers, on YouTube at Buccaneers Podcast, Facebook, Bucks Life News. And it's kind of going to be cool. I'm not sure if it will be tomorrow or the week after tomorrow. Our episodes will start being live on Twitter. So you won't have to go to YouTube. You won't have to go to Facebook. You could if you want still. But we're going to be live on Twitter soon, which is going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes, how that plays out, how that rolls out with that good stuff. Special guest for tomorrow. I'm not sure if we're going to have one yet. All I know is in the near future, we're going to have Chris Mathis from Tampa Sports Radio, WDAE, the Pat and Aaron Show executive producer over there. He'll be hopping on. Anthony Gator from Florida International, defensive quality control coach. He's going to be joining us. Jake Jahemiak, autograph specialist with the Buccaneers, will be joining us. And I'm very excited for this one. Just announced, just agreed to come on the Buccaneers. We landed a really good big fish from Pewter Report. That's the Bucks' main coverage site. Pewter Report, the guys there do a great job. They've been around for over 2 decades now. They actually started out as Buccaneers Magazine in the early 2000s. They only publish a magazine. Now they're Pewter Report. They're running shit. Josh Kiepo from Pewter Report, their film specialist, breaks down all the film every week, all 22, all the good stuff. He's your man on Twitter if you want to find out more about, hey, what's the Bucks run scheme look like? Who had a bad game blocking? Who really stepped up in the trenches? This guy does it all. He just agreed to come on the Buccaneers. So it's really going to be an incredible season. We got a lot of good guests coming up. We continue to grow stronger as a band of brothers, as the Buccaneers. We got giveaways coming up. It's just really incredible that it's already been 2.5 years of that pod in running as well. We're about to be on our 90th episode. We technically have over 100, but we didn't count some of the pre and post game shows in the beginning. So a lot of things to come for that. I'm sure both of you gentlemen will be back on in the near future. Hopefully, at least during the bye week, you guys join in. We go live on the bye week and we talk fantasy, we talk sports, we talk gambling, all that good stuff. So looking forward to chatting with you gentlemen soon on there, and looking forward to continuing my Cleve and Me endeavors, and looking forward to continuing in the podcast world, my friends. It's been a great football and wrestling season.
Really quick, speaking of looking forward to things and anniversaries, tomorrow we'll be watching together the 3-year anniversary show of AEW Dynamite. Tones, you've stuck with it from the beginning. You've always been a big AEW fan. MJF's on the card in his first match back in a while against Wheeler Yuta. Any last comments on 3-year anniversary? That's a big deal for AEW Dynamite.
It is a really big deal, and I'm glad you mentioned that because before I get into AEW, quick, I had a couple other little nuggets to
Go
mention
ahead.
about the world of wrestling. I mentioned one about the Judgment Day getting their 5th member. Another one here out of Slice Wrestling's Twitter. Raquel Rodriguez is being discussed to win the Women's Royal Rumble right now. So she might have a breakout path in front of her. That is Raquel Rodriguez over there. And as we discussed in the group chat yesterday, Bo Leave is back, baby. Bo Dallas has inked the deal with the WWE. So it's time to believe, baby. We got one of the good guys back.
Does Believe go with Bray Wyatt, or is that not a hand-in-hand deal? In terms of storylines, in your opinion, real quick.
I think it makes sense that they go hand in hand at this time, just given the timing of the signings, right? Like Bray Wyatt got announced signing with WWE less than a month ago, and then within that same month, Bo Dallas comes back. Now, with all that being said, it could have been as simple as Bray Wyatt putting a stipulation to WWE saying, hey, the only way you get the Fiend, me back, is if you sign Bo Dallas to a contract as well. He could have very easily done that. Did he? I'm not so sure. To me, what happened is he signed with WWE. He pitched an idea, and it has to do with Bo Dallas. And I think it'll be incredible, as we've unfortunately seen a lot of the Wyatt family is either in AEW or no longer with us. We still have a couple around in the WWE, but they got to incorporate that a little stronger. And how stronger of a picture could you get than incorporating your own blood brother? As far as AEW is concerned, tomorrow 3-year anniversary, it's been a wild ride full of ups and downs, but in my opinion, it's been just what I thought it would be from the start. A pretty good company where you could watch competitive wrestling. You're going to get good matches out of it, and you're going to have a fun time watching it. Sure, it's not for everybody. It's not meant to take over. They're there to compete, which is always a good thing. Look at how much better WWE has gotten in the past 3 years. You could attribute a lot of that to AEW and what they've done and what they're trying to do. And like I said, if you're one of those dudes who, they're never going to be WWE, I'm not going to give them a chance. Well, that's not what they're trying to do. They're creating their own brand. They're creating their own image. They go a little more old school. They go a little more rated R. There's nothing against either wrestling style. One appeals to validity of everybody, and one appeals to, they're just trying to appeal more so to a more mature audience. That's why they don't get as many views. That's why they don't get as good as viewership. And that's why, they don't sell as good of tickets. But at the end of the day, they're still doing great. I believe their Wednesday show has been averaging right about around 1.15 million the past month or so in terms of viewership, which is incredible. So, they have 2 shows on television for us. You could check out one on Wednesdays, one on Fridays, one SmackDown ends. And they have 2 shows on YouTube a week for us. So if you're a really big wrestling fan, just looking for wrestling, AEW has done a beautiful job giving you guys the opportunity. One last nugget here before I depart. AEW's Wardlow has expressed interest in perhaps crossing paths to the WWE eventually. So we'll see if Wardlow and WWE have any interest in making a connection there when Wardlow's contract is up. And Wardlow also said, hey, the MJF you see on TV is the MJF you get in real life as well. He's a talkative, douchey, upper edge human being, and I'm looking forward to continue to see where the direction of MJF goes and what he brings to the table. But all in all, pretty impressed with AEW and what they've been able to accomplish in their 3 years so far.
Well, thank you, Mr. Tampa Tones, for joining us. If you just saw your phone, Tim Crowley NFL power rankings come out. The Bucks were 3rd, the Cowboys were 5th. So I'm not saying, but
that's because Tim is predicting Dak to come back, and the Cowboys are worse with Dak. It's hard to admit.
I'm confused. It's hard
when you're a franchise. Hold on, before I depart, I'm about to be out of here, so let me get my couple words in. You fellas got a little bit left. When you get Dak back, and you're giving a guy that much money, so you could barely pepper any team around him, with the right players. it might bump you down a bit. Right now, you got Cooper Rush in there. He's hungry. He's playing some beautiful football. And man, let me tell you, if Dak loses that first game he's back, Jerry Jones is going to have a controversy on his hands at the quarterback position for the Dallas Cowboys. And I think that Mike McCarthy better make the right move because pretty soon, if he don't, he could be working at a Wendy's. But nonetheless, fellas, it's an interesting football season.
Thank you, Mr. Tampatones, and for all that. Again, Cleve, I want your thoughts on not only that power ranking thing just coming out, but also let's get back to the wrestling and talk about the Brawling Brutes versus Team Imperium.
Well, we can talk about that one first. I'll get the power rankings in a minute. I think the Brawling Brutes, I think that'll be a really fantastic match. I know Sheamus and Gotham have a rematch Friday on the premiere of SmackDown, which, if it's anything like the one that was at the Castle, this match will probably be another 5-star classic. And I will make sure to tune in to this one this Friday for the premiere of SmackDown. So I think I'm gonna go the Imperium just because they're more of a newer group. Excuse me. Maybe Pete Dunne, maybe they finally separates Pete Dunne from Sheamus, and Pete Dunne can go on his own, which I think he should have always been. I was a huge fan of the Bruiserweight when he was in NXT UK, when he was the champion and whatnot. And I think they need to make him a single star again. You keep the other guy with Sheamus. I don't even know the other guy's name. The guy that broke Big E's neck.
Oh, Ridge Holland.
You could keep him with Sheamus just because I don't see a bright future for him, but I see a bright future for Pete Dunne, who at one point was the longest reigning UK NXT UK champion. Pete Dunne has put on phenomenal matches. Underrated, super, and it's probably because of his size and whatnot. But dude, his matches are good. He's a really good wrestler. The way he can able to twist your fingers and your arms around is just like, oh, he's really good in the ring. So, I I would take Imperium just because they're new, and Gotham is the hottest thing in the middle card division at the moment right now. Now,
And yes, you get a
now
little
these
rebuttal.
now these power rankings. I'm so confused on how a team that got spanked by the Kansas City Chiefs are ranked higher than the Cowboys, who's missing their starting quarterback for the past 3 weeks. Now I will say Cooper Rush has definitely delivered, but let's not act like Cooper Rush is the only reason why my team has been winning. Our defense has been fantastic. I told Myron we will beat the Giants, and we beat the Giants. We beat the Bengals. Who else we beat? We just the Commanders. But I mean, I knew we
Well,
was gonna
and
beat them.
I heard a nice stat the other day to be, even though I hate to be pro you because you came at my Colts, but that's okay. They deserve it. The Cowboys turn the ball over a little and they get a lot of turnovers. When you do that in a football game, I was just in
You win.
Indy. I was in Indy Sunday for Colts Titans. It was a 7-point game. The reason we lose, Colts 3 turnover, Titans 0. When you win the turnover battle, no matter who you have on your roster, there's a good chance you're going to win.
What about your team in the division they're in at? Let's be honest. I mean, the Jags came out hot. The Titans, they're 2-2. You guys can still win that division, but I think with our
Yeah, but
division, the
is it
Eagles
cool?
are.
Is it cool winning a shitty division, or is that just a new stand? Is that a low standard?
Well, I
You
mean, we've
gotta
been doing it for the
now. Here's
past.
the thing:
We've been doing
the
it, so
Titans and Texans and Colts, they usually get in the playoffs and have good games and win some games here and there. Now the Titans struggled last year, but they seem to always be in the mix. But hey, we're not here to talk football. Your Cowboys are doing good. My Colts are not. The Bucks will be just fine, even though they lost last game to a good Kansas. It's weird. The Colts beat Kansas City, and then Kansas City beats Tampa. You cannot predict this week, league to league. And ladies and gentlemen, for the few people that listen to the show, if you like who I am, or if you like our content, hope the Colts win Thursday night, or I am going into a bunker for a week and a half because I cannot take a 1-3-1 start
I have
after everything that.
AW question for you because I've seen this on Twitter, and I don't know if this is a work or if this is true. Andrada and Sammy Guevara has had some words. I don't know if you've been seeing the tweets between those guys.
Between each other or towards the
Yeah,
company?
well, towards each other. It seems Andrade basically told Sammy, "You know where to find me." Basically, seems like he really wants to fight Sammy Guevara, not outside of the ring. I don't know if you've been catching that or not. Just some more
I saw that.
backstage drama with AEW. I thought interesting to bring up.
Well, no, and hey, I like to talk AEW, especially with the 3-year anniversary tomorrow, as we like trying to cover all wrestling outlets, even though this is Extreme Rules. Andrade's had some, and Sammy Guevara both lately had some beef with the company. It seems more Andrade, but towards each other, I got to really look into that one because I know, Andrade hasn't always been the most happy in the storylines he's been in. And Cleveland, we talked about this before I talk uh, more about Andrade and Sammy Guevara. We knew that not every superstar was going to succeed just because they jumped ships. Now, have some, of course. I think John Moxley has done better for himself. I think, um, CM Punk before the trouble was doing really good things for himself. The list goes on and on, whether it's, Christian was getting more involved, even though at an older age before his injury. There has been a lot of good, Daniel Bryan. He now is Bryan Danielson, more of a badass character. There's plenty of good, but at the same time, guys like Miro, Andrade, I'm sorry, you're seeing why maybe there have been releases where they are. I'm not saying they're good, not good talent, but it is very hard to go from B level to A level in this industry.
And I think we both touched on this when it first happened. We talked about this. Not everyone is a plus superstar. Some not even B plus superstars. And some people don't realize that you can't jump from team to team. That's like me going from one team to the other team thinking I'm gonna get more minutes. And I get to this other team, I'm getting the same minutes I was getting at the other team. Maybe it's not the team. Maybe it's something that you're doing wrong. I like Andrade. Rusev, I was like, whatever. Rusev was one of those. The Rusev Day stuff was creative, but I think it was more the English guy made it more interesting when he came out and said Rusev Day than actually Rusev. But I was a huge fan of Andrade. But I think the problem with Andrade was he thought he was a main event type wrestler, and I hate to break the news to you, but you're not. Like you're more of a middle card guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some of the greatest wrestlers in history. We think of Rowdy Piper. Who was thinking of Rowdy Piper, people like Dusty Rhodes, they never held the big champion in WWE. They were like in the middle cards and whatnot, but they were still Hall of Fame type people. People still talk about them to this day. And I think that's just the problem is that, all right, Andrade's having a problem in AEW. So what you gonna do? Come back to the WWE, and if it doesn't improve, what are you gonna do? Just keep hopping from show to show to show? Like eventually, you have to do something or change something around to make people view you as what you want them to be.
Wow, and this is not to cut you. This is interesting stuff. I'm glad you brought up.
Yeah.
So on Twitter, and I'll just read it word for word, and we won't hop on it too long because we're going to close the show out in a few minutes here as we went through all the match cards. Cleve, I still want your surprise and what you think might happen, whether it's an upset win or something or someone coming back. El Idolo says, I said it to your face. If you had a problem with me and you said nothing, I won't beat your ass because I'm a professional. Don't be scared. When I say something, I name names, and I'm not scared to get fired. Hashtag Sammy. Then Sammy retweets that and says, you didn't say shit to me, you liar, but here's some truth, you ungrateful prick. You would be jobless if it wasn't for your dad-in-law. Are you really mad at me, or are you mad at yourself for failing to get over for a second time? We just mentioned that. Just go back to WWE. We all know you want to do and fuck off. Wow. And then, and El Idolo says, I'm okay. I'm a liar. See you on Wednesday. I'll tell you to your face again, and nothing to you that you don't have nothing you say that you do not have any problem. So holy cow. I don't know if this is real and they're going to use it as a storyline. I don't want to dive down too much of this either, but there's been guys saying lately is AEW, they're letting a lot of people take control. I know Vince McMahon was not a great person. We all know that. But did he have control of his business and it be successful for many, many years? Yes. And at the end of the day, even a lot of superstars will tell you, even though it was all through Vince McMahon, they know who the boss was and they knew how things ran. And to me, Tony Khan, and he's learning, he's a younger guy. He, got into success fast, help from the family. he's learning that sometimes you have to lead through yourself instead of through your talent. And Cleve, I think that's a big thing to think about.
And I think also too, he needs to surround himself with the right people because he's a young. This is a new thing for Tony Khan. This is not, his dad owns the Jaguars, so I'm pretty. Even though he was a wrestling fan all of his life, he probably wasn't exposed around wrestling like that growing up as he was to like football and whatnot. So I think he needed the right type of people. The problem was the Kenny Omega was like the VP. The Young Bucks all had like top positions and whatnot, but he suspended all of those guys, and now it's just like it's only Tony Khan. And again, I'm going to use a sports reference again. If they don't respect the head coach, then they're if you don't respect the head coach, you're not going to listen to the head coach at all. And if you keep going on Twitter, if the backstage drama keeps leading to Twitter where you see these tweets between each other, then it's something then Tony Khan needs to step in front of and handle it. I will applaud him. He did handle the CM Punk, all that situation. He did, even though we said he should have handled it that night. He did hop in front of that. But this should not keep happening where you keep having guys in your company go to Twitter and other social media platforms.
Keep it in house.
Keep it in house. That's all you have
Just
to
like
do.
a sports team.
Yeah,
Once it gets out,
yeah. I hate when teams go even with teams I hate when teams go to media, so like the press conference about issues, especially if the media did not need to know about it. You can just handle this within your own company. Tony Khan, you gotta come on, man. But hopefully this is a work. But if it's not a work, then it just shows you that AEW backstage is something needs to happen because if it ain't one thing, it's another thing.
Yeah, and as we lead down the last few minutes of the show, Cleve on the side, I can't wait. We got basketball season coming. We're in the heart of football season.
Go Lakers!
Oh my God, I had a cough that was surging off the center. Congratulations on your exam, by the way.
Thank you.
For the people that don't know, Cleveland's making career moves and just got another notch on the belt to get to where he needs to be. So that's very exciting. Cleve, I don't know if you wanted to talk any more on that, but if not, what is your surprise for this Extreme Reels pay-per-view before I got a couple Cleveland thought questions for you?
Well, I'll just give the people somewhat of a hint. I recently took this exam to apply for the correctional officer facility, the juvenile detention center job out here, working with juveniles and stuff. I want to work in law enforcement, so I was really excited that I passed this exam. Just waiting for the phone call to set up an interview and background checks and whatnot. But like Joe said, making career moves. A surprise visit at Extreme Rules. Dude, they've been hitting at this Bray Wyatt thing for the longest time. So what perfect way
did you see what I sent you and
dude, that's what I'm saying. The White Rabbit and all. Dude, Bo Dallas is coming back. Alexa Bliss just got hurt, so maybe they take her off TV for a while. It seems weird because she still has that doll, so maybe she rejoins Bray Wyatt. But
I'm telling you, I would love nothing more than for Wyatt, Bo Dallas, Braun Strowman to become a faction.
The Wyatt family. I wish I was watching wrestling when the Wyatt family was around because
so do I.
I watched some of those old clips. I'm like, dude.
Did you see the one with The Rock?
Yeah. I love at the Mania, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he beat, I think it was Luke Harper, he pinned him in the middle of the ring, little warm up. But I think Bray Wyatt, fingers crossed, I think Bray Wyatt makes a return at Extreme Rules. They've been hitting at it for a long time. Season premiere, it's a new season as officially a Friday. And a better way to start off the new season is with a big name coming back that we all.
They're already starting off with the biggest name in wrestling, Logan Paul.
Oh, come on.
My man.
Come on. Joke.
Let me tell you right now, and we're going to be getting out of here. At that Saudi Arabia show, he's going to put on, him and Roman are going to put on something that people talk about for a while.
Yeah, they probably will, but nobody's going to care because it's Saudi Arabia. It's a house show. It's a glorified house show. Yeah, there you go.
That's how you love to say it. But you're not wrong on that. I mean, I love it because it's big matches, but it's a glorified house show.
Yeah, it's a glorified house show. Nothing.
All right, now as we end this thing and get a couple Cleveland's thoughts, again, a lot coming up. We're going to recap next week with Mark Dykton's going to be joining us, executive producer of 107.5 Indy the Fan in Indianapolis. He's going to be talking about us. I want to get a couple of Colts scoops at the back end of the show. as he does work for them there. That's the disappointing part. We're also going to recap the fun Extreme Rules pay-per-view because let me tell you, some fans out there, I think this. I think I texted this group chat. It's going to be pay-per-view of 2022. I think it's going to beat SummerSlam. And the reason it's going to beat SummerSlam. I'm saying anything after Mania because that's how I do my seasons because Mania was fucking fantastic this year. Post Mania, so from May through before next Mania, so we're already 5 minutes into that. I think Extreme Rules will be the most entertaining wrestling pay-per-view in that time span. That meaning I will enjoy it more than Royal Rumble. I will enjoy it more than Survivor Series. I will enjoy it more than Elimination Chamber. Does that happen for me often? No. But Cleve, again, it's not only extreme matches, all 6 are different.
I think so. I think I think you mentioned this last week too. You even mentioned it a lot lately. I do agree that this might be the pay-per-view of the year. And I think we still got 2 more pay-per-views unless we get a Survivor Series and they do like last year where we get day 1
I
January
think what's
1st.
happening is, and I want you to continue on that point, I'm going to look it up, is we'll get Crown Jewel, then Survivor Series, and Rumble, but go on with your point.
So I think, like I said, Romania was phenomenal this year. Hell in a Cell, the one we went to, was spectacular. I just saw a picture recently of Cody Rhodes' shoulder, and I really still can't believe that he wrestled an entire match with his arm looking like that. Shout out to us for going to see that live, actually. But I think this pay-per-view is going to top all of that because we have so many type of matches, so many different varieties. It's like having different flavors of chips, candies. You have whatever you like. If you don't like one match, the other match is going to be good.
Yeah.
You got a first ever women's ladder match. And I had to look back and I was like, wait, first ever ladies women's match? Phenomenal. I Quit match? Phenomenal. Strap match? Phenomenal. Just so many good matches. And then the fight pit match? Phenomenal match. Great way to end the feud. So this pay-per-view is going to be really, really good. You might find 2 5-star matches on this card alone.
And leading into Mania, I'll go through the schedule real quick before our closeouts. Extreme, and a couple Cleveland Thoughts questions. Extreme Rules, October 8th, Philadelphia. Crown Jewel, November 5th in Riyadh. November 26th, Survivor Series at the Boston Garden. January 1st, Day 1 pay-per-view at State Farm Arena, Atlanta. January 28th, Royal Rumble in San Antonio, which I'm really, really tempted to pull that trigger, but I'll get to that at a future time. Elimination Chamber, February or March in Saudi Arabia. So they go 2 overseas shows. They have 3 here, and then we get up to the Mania lead up. So I am going to stick with that and saying from that last year Mania to this one, everything in between, I think this is the pay-per-view to watch.
What if I noticed you said Survivor Series in Boston, Massachusetts. I couldn't notice but to think of one wrestler who was from Massachusetts. We have War Games at Survivor Series. So what if, I know it's a little early, but what if we see a John Cena return at Survivor Series? I remember years ago when Jericho, they were in Boston and John Cena returned against Jericho in his hometown. Maybe I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just talking.
Hey, it seems
possible.
like they couldn't get him over the summer like they wanted because he was recording his show that I enjoy, his superhero show. But I think now that's coming to an end. I like where your head's at. Cleve, I'm going to have a little fun here with a couple minutes to go. Number one, I was just surfing the web because I thought for sure when we were talking Bo Dallas that him and Liv Morgan were officially together. But this article came out a month ago, and they're not sure if she's in a relationship with Bo Dallas, Matt Riddle, or neither. If you had to pair Liv Morgan up with one of these two, you can throw it in WWE, outside of WWE. What do you think Liv Morgan's choice should be? Mr. Bo Dallas or Mr. Matt Riddle?
Oh, this little match game here.
Little match game.
I'll go Bo. I think Bo's young. I can't check.
Matt Riddle's 36.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan's 28.
Yeah, Liv Morgan's my age. Yeah, so and I think Bo is still. I think Bo's early 30s. He was young when he came to WWE. Actually,
And he is 32.
yes,
So Liv's 28, 32 is Bo, 36 is Riddle.
I could see Bo, same height, around the same age and whatnot, and yeah, I could kind of see that actually
And
more
now
than
I will
Riddle.
say for Matt Riddle, he might be 36, but he don't really look 36. He's kind of got that younger side to him. Bo Dallas, he's got a little more of the the fascia and stuff. But hey, I'll go opposite. I'll go Matt Riddle. I think it'd be more fun, more exciting. Who knows? There was rumors of a Carmella and Corey Graves leaked video that ended up being fake because of so much you can do with the internet. Wouldn't mind seeing a Liv Morgan Matt Riddle little video. Let me tell you that right now. That's for another time and another place. I have no shame in saying any of those words. Cleve, before we get out of here, though, we talked a lot about the pay-per-view, a little bit about the 3-year anniversary of AEW, a little bit of football thrown in. All good for you, all bad for me. Anything else wrestling-wise, anything at all before we hop out of here?
Well, it's not wrestling wise, but it is football related. As you guys all, the group chat know, and I will let the fans know, me and Myron laid down a double or nothing bet.
Yeah, what
My
is this bet
Cowboys.
exactly? Because I can't keep up with all the shenanigans.
So, if you remember, Myron came into the group chat talking all crazy. Cowgirls 0-1, 0-1. Cowgirls, Giants 3-1, 3-0. We played. Cowboys whooped the Giants. You remember, it was $20, and then he wanted to double or nothing, whatnot. So, for the fans listening, Myron, I have agreed to double or nothing this bet only because it's just fair to let him win his money back, even though, let's be honest, the Giants are trash.
And what has to happen? The Giants have to beat the Cowboys, or is
The
it
Giants, the Giants have to beat the Cowboys, and it's basically whoever wins. So if I win, I win 40. If he wins, I owe him 20. But I'm not even sweating that because I know the Giants are not beating the Cowboys. But I just want to let you know,
and it will
Myron.
be in Dallas?
Oh, it will. Of course, we're gonna do them dirty again in Dallas. I just want Myron to know this one thing: your team is still the trash team in the NFC East. Jones suck. Saquon sucks. The whole Giants franchise sucks.
Whoa! And this game is on Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, nothing
So
like
is
getting.
Cleveland going to be getting a lot of Thanksgiving from Myron's $40 on Thursday?
Might
Gobble
have to
gobble.
buy
Day?
a Cooper Rush jersey with that $40.
Hey, if your turkey doesn't work out, you got $40 to go buy some food for the fam if you're coming back. I don't know if you're coming back. We'll talk offline about when you might be in town and all that. SmackDown is actually coming to Illinois December 16th, and I can't believe I cannot make it. I will be at the Bulls Knicks game on December 16th. So sometimes you got to pick and choose your spots. I will be at the Black Wednesday AEW Dynamite where you get 2 episodes for one. I'll be with Mr. Tampa Tones on that one, but we'll definitely be talking more around the holiday season. Cleve, as you keep progressing, I've been busy as hell lately, just as the rest of the world is. But hey, we're here to enjoy a pay-per-view. Are you going to be able to sit down and watch us on Saturday? I know timing's a little off. What's your plan for it?
Dude, it sucks because I work 7 to 3:30 on Saturday, so I'll probably have to watch. I'll probably start it when I get off work, but I always do I'll do what I always do since I moved out here. I'll just have to mute the group chat or stay off social media because people ruin matches or whatnot. So I'm probably gonna miss the first few matches, but once I get off work, I'm definitely gonna come home and start the pay-per-view from the beginning. That's kind of the suck about working on Saturdays is that wrestling comes on at 2 o'clock out here compared to 7 o'clock at home. So gotta get adjusted to it, you know.
Hey, work comes first, life comes first. I will be watching it live and enjoying it for sure, as I have something during the day for a commitment, but at night I will be free. I will not ruin the group chat. Aaron Judge just hit his 60-second to get to 60 to just fucking jeez, I just ruined that whole thing. Judge just hit his bomb as my roommate yells here to break the record in the American League of
Go
Mr. Rogers.
Yankees!
What a way to you ain't no Yankees fan. Shut the hell up with that crap. Oh my goodness.
Here we
But
go.
yes, it was nice. Definitely to have that end the show. For that being Cleve, this is me. God bless, good night, and congratulations, Mr. Aaron Judge.